Hello everyone, welcome to Two Bearded Gaming. My name is Richard, and this is another review for you. This time, this is brought to you by Amplitude Studios. This is Dungeon of the Endless on Nintendo Switch. The meat and potatoes, as I like to call it, this will cost you £17.99 and will set you back on your storage 1.7 gig. And what I'm hopefully going to do is give you an understanding whether this game is well worth the money and the storage space. So, as a man who loves a challenge, Dungeon of the Endless, I'm going to call this Endless just for the whole review. Dungeon of the Endless seems right for me. I personally, over the years, have developed a love-hate relationship with roguelike games, from dying within 10 minutes of my first run to having an absolute storming run to be killed by an easy mob. But some way, these games seem to pull me right back in. Dungeon of the Endless is no exception to the rule. It's a hard roguelike and makes no bones about it, and it'll kick you in the butt if you make mistakes. Every time though, I wanted to try a little more and just see if I can push a little bit harder. You see, with Dungeon of the Endless, they've brought two genres together in the fact of tower defense and roguelike. This is where the game starts getting a little bit interesting. You see, you don't move your character in like normal roguelikes. That's taking away from you to a simple selecting a room and clicking on that room. And then what you're there to do is resource management. You're there to make sure that your tower defense is set up correctly enough for you to complete the dungeon. Now, I did mention briefly about opening rooms, and that's basically the roguelike element. You given an escape pod, your ship is being smashed into, and you jump on an escape pod and go down onto the earth. Now, my first ever run took me about 5 minutes. I was dead because the in-game tutorial is a little bit lackluster. I threw my Switch to the side, said I'm never playing this game again, it's stupid, and after doing a little bit of digging online somewhere and finding the Dungeon of Endless wiki, I actually sat back, did some reading, and, well, it seemed to click. You see, after jumping in your escape pod, you can pick two characters. Do not pick the organic escape pod for your first or your second run like I did. And you can pick from a selection of characters. And here is the plus point already. You can play as a dog. Yes, you can play as a war puppy and away you go. But you will, well, if you are human, you'll probably feel bad if the puppy dies. Yes, the puppy can die. After picking your two characters, which all are a set of classes, you have like a thug, a bounty hunter, an opportunist, and different kind of classes. And they look like they bring a certain kind of skill to the table. And the great thing here is you can mix and match those classes to suit your playstyle better. And that's kind of a nice way of starting the game. You have complete control of how your game is going to run down to the characters that you want to take. After picking those characters, you dive into your dungeon, and here is where the game begins. You meticulously and very slowly work out your plan from point A, which is your crashed escape pod, to point B, which is the elevator to get you up to the next dungeon floor. And with every movement into a new room, you are greeted by darkness. And darkness in this game is bad. It's a bad. It's a no-no. And the reason being is, simply put, that darkness will spawn enemies. And these enemies can be quite strong to the point where they will kick you in the butt. So as you progress slowly, you'll be gaining different resources. And we'll go over the first one, which is kind of key, which is dust. Yes, you'll see like gold coins on the floor. This represents dust, and dust is there to use to power your rooms. Now, for every dust you collect, it builds you closer to the power total that you need for these rooms, and luckily they're all a nice round figure of 10 per room. So if you have 40 dust, that's 4 rooms you can power. And as I progressed through this, I found out you could actually turn certain rooms off to allow you to turn different rooms on to aid you in your routes. But as I said, do remember, darkness will spawn enemies. I don't think, by the looks of things, you'll be given enough dust to cover the entire floor. And this is where it's almost like a chess game, and you have to decide which piece of the puzzle you need to move into place to allow you to get your power crystal to the end. So, and we'll touch a bit more about the power crystal shortly. From there, you're looking at well, what's next? You then can platforms, and these platforms are distinguishable. They're like a silver with a blue icon in the middle, and they are your main node platform building areas. You can build 3 types of nodes. One is a science node, one is a food node, and the other is an industry node. The industry node is probably the most important one, where this industry node allows you to build the smaller nodes of the tower defense. The food node is there to allow you to level up, buy things from a merchant, and use to heal your characters. And the science node allows you to do research on other nodes that you find for different things that can help you with your arsenal. Now, I did mention smaller nodes. Those smaller nodes are in the rooms. They, if you look at the floor, they'll either run in a straight line or they'll run round a node. Excuse me. And these can put offensive or defensive, like tower defense style nodes, to aid you in defending your area or attacking the enemies that spawn. So you've done all that. You're set up, you've got your character, and you've found the last room. You now know your route, and this is where like stage 2 of the game comes in, because on your escape pod is a power crystal. I've mentioned it a couple of times, and this is where you have to get the power crystal to the elevator. And this is where the game gets quite interesting. In one of my runs where I figured out what I was doing, all hell broke loose because I didn't quite know I had to get the power crystal to the end. And it was an absolute mad rush for this, and I was like, whoa, and I died. Upon that, I restarted and started another run, a few runs down the road, and I worked out that I shouldn't have took the organic pod in that previous run. I took the normal escape pod and picked up the power crystal, but before then, I worked out what I thought would be the best route to the end. And upon that, I dived my bounty hunter into the lift, and it hit, well done, you go to the next floor. What I didn't realise, and big tip folks, is make sure both your characters are in that elevator before you descend or you ascend up to the floor. And yeah, because you only get one character to continue. So the game makes no bones. If you make stupid mistakes like this, the game will punish you. And, well, that's brilliant. Actually, it's incredible. And I think this is one of my favourite roguelike / tower defences I've ever really played. Not that I know many. The studio has a great success with other games like Endless Legend, Endless Hero. I can't think of the name of the game. I said it earlier, but the games that they've made, I think it's an incredible fit. I will say this: the music is, you can take it or leave it. The lore of the game is done through in-game text. So again, if you want to delve deeper into the characters, you can, but it's not essential. It's not there for you to do that. So overall, this, I feel, is well worth your time and your money. And then looking back upon reviews for Steam, because this was released about 5 years ago, it's got really good, outstanding reviews. But big tip, do some research on the tutorial and how to play, because then it clicks. Then it becomes apparent of how good this game is. So I'm looking forward to doing a few more runs. And that's it. That's pretty much the review in a nutshell. The TLDR is, it's a good game, go buy. So thank you very much for listening. Do all the good YouTube stuff, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.